Hey everyone, welcome. This is called the Get Shit Done Show. My name is Mike Peachy. I'm a director of sales here at HubSpot.
Hi guys, my name is Blake Beaumere. I am a sales rep on Mike Peachy's team, and make sure to follow us, #GSD show.
All right, so I'm sure if you found your way to us today, you've looked at sales videos online, you've probably attended some courses, heck, you might have even hired an expensive consultant to give you advice. This is gonna be remarkably different than anything you've looked at or tried before. What we're really trying to do here is we're trying to provide a tremendous amount of insightful, fast, quick feedback that you can take and leverage today. So when you get done watching these videos, you can go back to work and implement some of these suggestions and see a meaningful difference in your sales now.
So we have a few, sections we're going to follow. First, segmentation. How do you organize your, book of business and daily activities? Next, we're going to focus on, getting your emails opened. How are we going to spark interest with our prospects? Then that leads us to the body of the email. How are we going to make sure that that content is being read, that we spent so much time to create? And then there's, of course, follow-ups, and then also
the breakup. We'll talk about the breakup.
The breakups as well.
Yeah, and the last thing is there's just so much change happening in the space for salespeople, right? There's so much technology that's available to us that never really was before. So how do we take advantage of some of this new information that we're getting as salespeople and be able to leverage it to start more conversations that are meaningful and ultimately win more business? That's what we're here to help you do. It's going to be quick, it's going to be to the point, and you're going to be able to use this stuff today. We're really excited to work with you and to help you out. And up next, section 1, segmentation. All right, the first place that we're going to start today is segmentation. And what I mean by segmentation is really just who actually are these people that we're reaching out to, and how do we think about prioritizing that? So what we'll talk about in this section, some of the key themes, is just actually knowing who your prospect is, who we're reaching out to, and why. Second is the buyer journey. Pretty key concept, and pretty much everything else that we're going to talk about leverages some of this stuff.
It's like the foundation, I feel like.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. And
then some tips on segmentation and how you might think about approaching that, in your own business or in your own practice. And then finally, some tools that you can use to make this whole process a lot easier. So when you reach out to a prospect, you have these 2 rules. Tell me your 2 rules.
Who am I talking to? Why am I talking to them? That's it.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So if you reach out to somebody and you can't answer that question,
you have no business speaking to them.
So important of like, if somebody asks me the question of why did you reach out to me about this, and you can't confidently answer that, and you don't have true meaning behind that outreach, it just kind of feels like nothing. Like, why should somebody care about your outreach and what it is that you have to say?
Exactly.
Pretty meaningful kind of core tenet of everything that we're going to talk about today. The second piece is this notion of a buyer journey. And so the concept here is basically that every person that you reach out to is unique in their own right, but they're primarily differentiated by how much they know of you, your business, your solution, or even their own problems to begin. So the buyer journey typically is these 3 phases. It's number 1, awareness, number 2, consideration, and number 3, decision. Blake, talk to us about like what is each of these and how should we be thinking about kind of each of these buckets in this buyer journey?
Yeah, so this is a relatively new concept for me when I first started HubSpot. And the way that I think of it is someone in the awareness stage is going to be someone who maybe doesn't even realize they have a problem. And if they maybe sort of know they have a problem, they might not know who you are and what services you provide. The second stage, consideration, they've started to do some research. They know they have a problem, but they don't exactly understand everything about what you have to offer, and they still need to know more. And then decision, these are our hottest leads. They're the ones who've done the research. They are pretty much ready to pull the trigger. They maybe just have some questions about price, and that's where you come in. So that's the hottest leads for sure. Decision.
And the whole idea is that you got to be really changing the way that you message into each of these buckets. So as we talk today about closing more deals and generating more prospect interest in your own world, one of the key things is that when you talk to people, the first question we should always ask ourselves is, what stage of this journey are they in, and how does our messaging really match against that stage? Now, thinking about answering the question for ourselves of what stage they're in, how do you actually tell? So what are some of like the cues and the listening that you're doing to understand where to bucket people along that path?
Yeah, I think when you think about it, the triggers are actually pretty easy to find. So to work our way backwards, decision. If someone has started a pricing or purchasing process and abandoned it, that's a very strong indicator they're in the decision phase. Someone in the consideration phase maybe has simply downloaded an ebook, viewed some sort of piece of content that you guys have. That's another strong indication that they've started to do the research. And then awareness, that's probably the most work and the most heavy lifting for the salesperson. That's on me to do the research on Google, LinkedIn. I'm looking for information of, is there more funding that's been released for a company? Is there a new VP? Is there something that's changed? That's kind of on me to do that, kind of journalistic research to figure out what's going on with that account or with that person.
And it's anticipatory, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at this and you're saying to yourself, okay, well, these things are happening in this person's universe. They're happening in this person's world, and that allows you to make inferences about potential problems they might try to be solving or potential new initiatives that they may have.
Yeah, I mean, like follow them on Twitter, follow them on social media so that you're constantly getting those updates. So it kind of helps you do the research for you. Definitely.
Cool. Super cool. So now when you think about the kind of daunting task, I'm already like, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, this is so much. I've got all these different stages in my journey, and I've got all these different people that I'm reaching out to.
Yeah, you're telling me it's my everyday life.
All right, so how do you make sense of this, and how do you organize it today?
Well, I mean, it's intimidating at first, but for me, the best, aid that you're going to have is your tools and your, kind of how you organize your leads and how you are categorizing those. So if you don't have a CRM, go get a CRM. There's a lot of choices out there. HubSpot has one. It's free. But without it, it's just going to seem that much more overwhelming.
Got it. So you actually are taking these and you're creating lists in the CRM, and you're segmenting those lists based on where they are in the buyer journey and also kind of like typical problem sets that these people share.
Exactly. I'm tagging my contacts accordingly, and then segmenting them into lists.
Beautiful. Well, that kind of wraps up our first phase here on segmentation. What we're going to talk about in the next section is how to start crafting your email subject line. So as you do this outreach, being able to generate real interest from people and getting people's attention.
Yeah, we want hot subject lines.
Hot subject lines,
Fire.
Lots of attention, all eyes on you. On the bottom of your screen, you can click to go to the next section, and we'll look forward to seeing you there.
Bye, guys.